Hi class, in this video we'll go over a question on your chapter 10 quiz or the GDP questions. By the way, so this is actually a very difficult question in term calculations. So make sure to be careful, there are many steps involved. If you get one step wrong, everything after that will be all wrong. Okay, so here's the question. So the question says the country of Academy produce only bow and arrow. Quantity and prices of this good are for each last several years are shown below. The base year is 2010. Now, by the way, the first important information here, the base year is 2010. And I have the years 2010, 11, 12, 13, the price for a bow, quantity for bow, price for arrow, quantity for arrow. Now, the question will be appear in many different ways. So it can be asking for what's the nominal GDP for different years. You can also ask for what's the real GDP. You can also ask for what's a GDP deflator. You can also ask for lastly what's the inflation. Okay, so there are four ways to answer. There are four different things you have to know how to do for this type of questions. The best way to work this type of problem is not with a calculator, but with Excel spreadsheet. Because with calculator, you tend to make a mistake. With a spreadsheet, everything becomes much more dependable. Okay, so let me show you how to do this in a spreadsheet. Let's start with a, where did it go? Let's start with a blank spreadsheet. Here we go. And what I'm going to do is just copy the information onto the spreadsheet. Okay, so. All right, there. So everything's on the spreadsheet. By the way, I had to pause the video for a second. I don't want you guys to sit through me typing all the numbers on there. All right, so once you finish the spreadsheet, remember we said that the base year is 2010. So let me highlight it so I wouldn't forget. So base year is 2010. Okay, so the next couple things to find out is what's the nominal GDP for each year, the real GDP, and also your deflator, and lastly, what's your inflation. So let's do one more column. Let's call this one nominal GDP, and the next one will be real GDP, deflator, and then inflation. All right, so to find your nominal GDP, we're going to take the price of each year times quantity of each year. So we're so for the first 2010, we're gonna do the price of bowl, which is $12, times the quantity for bowl, and then plus the total value for arrows. So that'd be the price for arrow times the quantity for arrow. So price times quantity plus price times quantity. So enter. That's your nominal GDP for 2010. And then for the next 3 years, same formula. So price times quantity plus price times quantity. Now there's a little trick here. So if you click on the one you just finished, go to the right bottom corner, you drag it down, and that's the answer. Okay, see how much easier that is? You can do this with a pen and pencil, right? All right, and then for real GDP, now real GDP a little tricky. So for real GDP, we're gonna take the price of base year, so this base year prices, times each year quantity. So you're gonna see the 2010 prices times 2010 quantity, and then next for 2010 prices times 2011 quantity, and then 13 quantity, and then 12 quantity. So they take the same year times each one of this quantity to get each year's real GDP. Okay, so the 2010 nominal GDP, real GDP will be the same as nominal because the base year is 2010. So we still have 2010 prices times 2010 quantity plus 2010 prices times 2010 quantity. Ooh, there. Now for next year will be a little different. So it will be your 2010 prices, but now times 2011 quantity, and then plus 2010 prices times 2011 quantity. Now you can still try to drag it down, but be careful. If you drag it down, the numbers will change. But we said this prices here will stay the same. So what you can do, you can put a dollar sign in front of the prices here. So dollar sign in front of B, dollar sign in front of 3, and then dollar sign in front of D, dollar sign in front of 3. So this way the Excel will lock that cell, will never change it. So now I can drag it down, and that will be your real GDP for each year. And then deflator is very simple. It's just your nominal GDP divided by real GDP times 100. So nominal GDP divided by real GDP times 100. That's your deflator. And then, by the way, the deflator for base year is always 100. Okay, so if you see a question where the question says, deflator for this year is 100, when is the base year? Well, that's the base year. So as long as your deflator is 100, that means that's your base year. Okay. All right, so that's your deflator. And lastly, for inflation. Now, for inflation, it's always measured against the year before. So we're going to take our deflator for this year minus deflator for last year and divided by deflator for last year. So which means we can find inflation for 2013, inflation for 2012, inflation for 2011, but we cannot find inflation for 2010 because we don't know what the year before 2009 was. So we can only do inflation for 3 years. So let's do the first one. So I'm going to do the deflator for 2013, so this year, minus last year, divided by last year, and make sure it's times 100%. So let me change the percentage for my cell, percentage. So it's the inflation of 7.27%, and drag it up. You have any inflations. Okay. All right. So guys, that's how you do nominal GDP, real GDP, deflator, inflation. Have any more questions? Let me know. Okay. See you later. Bye bye.